I am devastated. My heart is shattered to a million pieces. And if you are a fan of Love Island, yours probably is too. And I would like to just give you a virtual band-aid to put on your broken heart that we all feel for Molly May, who has recently split up with her partner, Tommy Fury, her fiance of 5 years that she shares a beautiful 1-year-old daughter with. And there are rumors that he cheated. And we're going to be talking about that in this video. And also, after I talk about the Molly May situation, I'm going to do a very quick recap. I don't even think it's a recap, but I'm going to talk about the Love Island USA Season 6 reunion briefly. I'm not giving it its own video because it was just that bad. So we'll talk about that at the end. Before we get into this, I just want to acknowledge that I have a glare in my glasses, okay? And I do realize that I do not have anti-glare glasses. I don't normally wear these if this is your first video that you've ever clicked on of me. Normally I have my contacts in, but I'm wearing my glasses today and I can see they're glaring, and I know that's annoying, and I hope you will work through it with me. A girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. I would much rather have them on and it be a little bit annoying for some people than not be able to see. You know what I mean? But first I have to talk about Molly May and Tommy Fury. The season that they were on was one of my favorites, and I've always been such a big fan of the two of them and just their relationship, the way that they got together at the beginning. I just thought it was such a beautiful story. They have made me shed like genuine tears seeing their love story unfold. When I see compilation videos of their special moments from Love Island and her YouTube channel, Molly being pregnant, having her daughter, her engagement, it brings tears to my eyes. I eat romance like this up like you have never seen before, and their story has always just been so beautiful and so special to me, and I cannot express my level of anger for this man if what I am hearing that he did is true. The first thing I'm going to show you right here is these pictures of him partying with Chris Brown. You all should know how I feel about Chris Brown. You know, he beat the crap out of Rihanna, and I don't care if he was younger when he did it. Like, that's an awful person. I'm not a fan, and you are like the company you keep, and I feel like him hanging out with Chris Brown in these pictures, immediate red flag. I am not into it, okay? The fact that he's hanging out with him makes me believe these cheating allegations even more, because you are the company that you keep. Now, if you are unaware, Molly May and Tommy Fury were a part of Love Island. They were actually the runner-ups for the winners, and their relationship was just so beautiful to see. They met for the first time in a Love Island hot tub, and I honestly want to go back and rewatch this season because I just loved it so much. I've always been such a huge fan of Molly. She has always seemed like the sweetest person. And I even remember when this season aired, she got so much hate. Like, people were just like, Molly isn't there for the right reasons. Like, people didn't like her and liked Tommy more than her because she was a social media influencer before she went into Love Island. People thought that she was in there for the wrong reasons and just in there to like boost her social media following, which, I mean, if somebody, one of the reasons why they're going in there is because it will benefit them after, I don't see anything wrong with it, as long as they also have an open mind and heart for the potential of finding somebody. And she obviously did. She was with him for 5 years and has a child with him and didn't end it willingly. So shame on everybody who was judging her, okay? I love Molly. I love her, the most beautiful human being ever. And I also watch her YouTube channel and just the way that she's expressed love to Tommy. And I feel like she has taken on so much more onto her shoulders so that he could have opportunity in his life. He was, you know, he's called Tommy Fury because he's like a, what is it, like a boxer or whatever. He beats people up for sport. And so he has a lot of training, he has a lot of traveling, and Molly May would be left behind on her own a lot. Like, I've watched a lot of videos of her where she talks about how Tommy is gone. So there was a lot of times in their relationships where she was alone, and that to me is a sacrifice, okay? When you are in love with somebody and you are sacrificing your time with them so that they can, you know, further their careers, that's something that you're also doing for them. And that is such a good trait, because not everybody is going to be okay with being in a relationship with somebody that is going to be traveling and gone for a very long time. Do you know what I'm saying? So the fact that she stood by him through all of his absence in their lives so that he could further his career and do the things that he wanted to do says a lot about her character. Like, she never like complained about it in a selfish way on the internet, but obviously it's going to be something that bothers you when you're in love with somebody and you can't, you know, spend every waking moment with them. You know, in hindsight now, looking back at the vlogs and the videos of them, it did seem like she was more in love than he was, which, what an absolute idiot. I just want to say that, and I'm sorry because he is the father of her child. But like, I'm just looking at it and I'm like, dude, you should be head over heels for this woman. She's so stunning. She has her own career. She seems like such a genuine individual that the fact that he wasn't all over her is just mind-blowing to me. She deserved so much better and deserves so much better. And you know, there are videos that she has done in recent times where she's talked about how Tommy was doing an audiobook and that she was solo parenting for weeks while he was doing that, and that it was really difficult on her. So this woman has been taking care of your child so that you can go off and do your work and do your job, and exhausting herself. She's also sacrificing time from her own work and her own mental health, solo parenting for weeks at a time. But I mean, the fact that like she was staying behind so that he could go and do his job, do what he needed to do, taking on the weight of the world, doing everything so that he could further his career and make money and do what he needs to do. And he took advantage of it in the most horrific way that I've heard. I do not know that these things are true. The way that they're being reported is all alleged. Molly and Tommy and people around them, like nobody has come out and said anything directly. All of this is sources. We don't know what's true, what's not true. But sometimes these things, like when you see them, it's all rumors, but a lot of times some of it comes with some truth to it. So Molly May's post that she made on her Instagram, first initially announcing the breakup, there was one part in it that is what first started the speculation of like, what did he do? Something to the effect of she didn't expect it to end in this way. And her saying that like really shows me that the way that it ended was in a way that was bad, because it wasn't something that was amicable or where they made a mutual decision to do it. Because I feel like if you're gonna split from somebody, you wouldn't say, I didn't expect it to end like this, or however she worded it, you know what I mean? And so that immediately to me sent red flags, like what did he do? And then I start seeing everybody else is saying the same thing. And then of course his Instagram post, like he said so much less in it. And so it starts to look like, what did you do? And now there are rumors that there has been women that have come forward and talked about how he's cheated on her, and that Molly May is aware that he's probably cheated on her with multiple women on multiple occasions. This was not a one-time thing, allegedly. This was something that happened multiple times. And, you know, it's very plausible that this is the truth, because he would go out so much. He was gone for so long. I mean, he's, you know, gone for weeks at a time recording an audiobook. He's gone for weeks or months at a time doing his, you know, boxing stuff and his training and all of that. Like, they've spent so much time apart where he has had opportunity to do that behind her back, and apparently he was doing it. And in situations like this, where it bothers me the most is that when there's a child involved, you're not just cheating on your partner, you're also cheating on your child. You cheated on your entire family because you didn't end it in a healthy manner for everybody. And I also feel like if you have it in you to go and cheat on somebody that you're in a relationship with, then you shouldn't be with that person. You're obviously not in love with them. And, you know, I feel like maybe you are not husband material. Maybe you shouldn't have got down on one knee and proposed to somebody who was head over heels for you and, you know, carried and birthed your child if you were going to go and cheat on them. Whenever I've watched Molly, I've seen somebody who loved her family. I think she was a ride or die for Tommy. I think that she was going to support him through thick or thin. I think she was going to do whatever she needed to do to make sure that he was able to further himself through his career path of choice. She was so supportive of him. Not to mention, she works too, okay? She has her own job and her own way of, you know, making money to provide for her family. So whenever she's watching their child full time so that he can go off and be out of town and further his own name and his own career and cheat on her, she's back at home with their child, taking time away from her job and how she could be, you know, furthering her life and her career. And I feel like from what I've seen, she wasn't getting the same amount of support from him that she was giving to him. And I feel like she deserved so much better. I mean, I noticed a while ago that it felt like, you know, she was sacrificing a lot for him and he wasn't doing as much for her. I didn't anticipate something like this would happen. It felt like their love story was so precious and genuine. And I mean, they were getting married, like they were planning a wedding. Not only is it painful that he did this, but because she has a child with him, she's going to have him in her life for the rest of her life. So every time she looks at him, she's going to have the trauma brought up to her. If the allegations of what he did are true, Can you imagine how painful that is? And unfortunately, I'm sure some people are watching that have gone through it where you've had a child with somebody. You're raising a 1-year-old and, you know, sacrificing your own time so they could go and do things that benefit themselves. And then you find out they're cheating. I don't think you can be any weaker of a man to go and cheat on not only your future wife, well, not anymore, but at the time, and your 1-year-old daughter. Okay, to go and do that to them is so hurtful. Just absolute heartlessness. People that behave like this do not deserve somebody like Molly or somebody who loves and supports them through thick or thin and sacrifices their own time. From what I was reading on an article, which, like I said, this is all alleged, so take it with a grain of salt, but it is said that Molly May has been expecting more girls to come forward, which tells me that if that's true, that somebody came forward and said that he cheated. Now, one of the reasons why I'm inclined to believe that some of these rumors are true is that sometimes when celebrities have situations like this happen where like somebody cheats or does them dirty, they will leak stories themselves or have people that are close to them leak stories because they're so upset at that person. They want people to know what they did, but they don't want it to come from their own mouth. You know what I mean? It's like giving the information to somebody else and letting them break it. So I'm wondering if something like that happened where it is genuinely from some of her friends that are leaking the story for her so that people can know what a piece of shit he is. Now, there is also this video where there was like him dancing at a club with somebody that came out, and like, this is just not appropriate. Like, unless you've discussed in your relationship, like, hey, it's totally cool if you go and dance with girls at clubs, you should not be doing this. What upsets me about this video and about, you know, him hanging out with Chris Brown and stuff is like, Molly's at home raising your child. That is a job in itself. She is raising your child and you're out there partying. The lack of respect that this shows that he had to her as a person is just repulsive. There's this video of him in the club with this girl and she turns around and grabs his face and like pushes him, and I'm like, this is the type of like handsy behavior that you have with somebody that you already know. He also kind of smiles a little bit and I'm just like, what are you doing? Go home to your fiance and your daughter, you loser. And also, you have a 1-year-old daughter. Do you want her to end up with somebody like you?
Anywho, you've got to be him to buy Lemay. So everybody else...
Lemay, stop calling it Lemay. It's called Lemay.
Anywho, guys, I'm coming here for a reason. My card's been cancelled because I thought I lost them and I really didn't. They were just at my mum's. So that's great.
He cancelled all his debit cards yesterday because he thought someone had pickpocketed him. But turns out we left them at his mother's house.
So, kindly, Molly's offered to buy my dinner tonight, which is going to be...
I'd like to know if you wanted me to keep my eardrums, because if you did, you're going to need to bring the decibels down slightly. Because I've never heard a man speak so loud in all my...
So that is allegedly the last clip of them together in their vlog, and you can definitely see that there's some tension because she was with a freaking cheater. I'm like, she's also out there buying your meals. Like, are you kidding me?
Tommy Fury caught cheating on Molly May in nightclub.
So this video is actually from over a year ago, okay? So he was at clubs like hanging out with girls for a very long time. I wonder how she felt about these videos when she saw them, you know what I mean? Because I wouldn't be okay with it. Like, yo, I'm home and you're out there doing that. At the time where this video was taken, Molly was pregnant. So he's at a club drinking and hanging out with girls while Molly's pregnant. This girl deserves so much better. There is an old video that Chicks in the Office had done, and this is from 2022. So this is over 2 years old, where they're talking about they heard rumblings of Tommy cheating before.
There are rumbles of like Tommy Fury maybe not being the best significant other.
What?
Which
What? That would make me
honestly
so upset.
wouldn't surprise me, but I'm just going to play dumb on that one and act like that's
my
not
fucking
something
God.
that I saw.
I hope that that's
or
fake.
not saw. I'm just word
Don't
of
do
mouth
that
here.
to me.
There's been rumors about this for a long time, and you know, behind the scenes he had to be lying to Molly and just filling her head with a bunch of bullcrap. And I just feel bad because, y'all, she's been going through this behind the scenes this whole time and nobody knew. That is so hurtful. Like, you know, he had to be filling her head with so much bullshit that she continued to trust and believe that he wasn't doing the things that, you know, he was accused of and that the rumors weren't true. It's not looking good, and I'm really curious if other people come out and say, you know, stuff that he's done. Because girls who are the other women, they love to come out and sell their stories when stuff like this happens. So I'm really curious if we're going to get some more information about this. I just want to end the Molly May talk with this. I send her all my love, and I hope that she's able to, you know, get through this. And she's got friends and family supporting her. It's going to be really rough because she has to see him for the rest of her life. They share a child together. And not only, like, when you don't have a child, you don't think about stuff like this. But I'm just here to tell you, when you have a child, the idea of being in a split relationship is so hard because not only did you and that person split, but you have to share time with your kid. You won't get to see them every day anymore. You're going to have visitation or leave them on the weekends or do every other week. You don't get them every day anymore. And that's something that's going to be really painful for her because she's going to have to share her daughter with someone who cheated on her. That's hard, okay? I send all my love to her. My heart is so broken for her. Like, I'm broken over here with her and I feel terrible. She deserves so much better. Having a child in the midst of all this just complicates things so much more. And shame on this man if all of these allegations are true. I am so disappointed. You all are going to have to let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. But now I'm going to briefly talk about the reunion of season 6 of Love Island USA. And like I said, I'm not giving this its own video. I was going to, but I'm not because it was just that bad. It felt like the season was just chopped up and that everything was edited out. I don't know if they thought they were going to get into some legal issues or if they cut things out due to trying to protect people's mental health, because Lord knows they haven't done that in the past. I don't know why it was so edited, but it felt very edited and it felt unresolved. There were a lot of issues that I felt like weren't dove into. Kyeluh did yell at Aaron in it because Aaron had the audacity to say that he stuck his hand down Daniela's pants. And the first time he told her that was at the reunion, which was a questionable choice. And you all know I do not endorse bullying and going and harassing any of these people. At the end of the day, they barely know each other. They were in there for just like a month or something like that. And it's like everybody's going to make mistakes, but I feel like that was the dumbest move he could have ever made, telling her at the reunion. So hurtful. They had spent time together. They were probably hooking up, and then he tells her that. Ugh. I feel like everybody was really mean to Andrea, and I know some people are going to disagree with me, but I just feel like they came on her so hard, and I don't feel like it was exactly appropriate. I felt like disappointed that they didn't talk more about Robin and Andrea and that whole thing. Now, it starts out like the first drama is like Nicole is making the revenge porn against Kendall all about her, and I do not agree with that. I felt like that whole conversation that they had where she was making it about her and talking about how he lied to her about where the video came from, I feel like that should have been something that they discussed off camera. And I'm like, Nicole, were you saving that for the reunion? Because you just, the way you went into it was like you already knew you wanted to talk about it. And I just feel like you should have picked up the phone if you actually cared and talked to him about that off camera. I do have empathy towards her feelings on the situation, but also at the same time, can you imagine if Nicole was the one who had revenge porn out against her and then Kendall was the one making it about him and being like, you lied to me about who you sent that to and when? It isn't about that, honey. Like, his private videos are exposed on the internet. That's just something that is something of people's nightmares, to have intimate moments like that leaked on the internet. And then for you to go on there and instead of, you know, showing support to him and what he went through, to make the whole thing about how he lied to you about where the video came from. He was embarrassed as hell, I'm sure. But also I want to add this, if he's sending videos like that to people before he goes to the villa, it doesn't even really matter at the end of the day because he wasn't with anybody. He didn't cheat on anybody. Like, what he did before he went in there is not anybody's business. What he does after, however, is a different story. I feel like it was really dramatic. I don't feel like they're meant to be. I think that Kendall did break up with her, but like, I'm just like, that whole thing was in bad taste. And I was not vibing with it. And honestly, I don't really think there's much else to talk about with the reunion. It was really boring. I felt like they edited a lot out. There was a lot that wasn't talked about. And, you know, I don't know when my next Love Island video will be when it comes to them, because I just feel just kind of like, just kind of bored of it at this point. Let me know what you all think in the comments about that down below. I am going to go ahead and wrap this up because there's not much else to say. But again, I send my support to Molly May and to her daughter, Bambi. I hope that she's able to cope through through this as well as you possibly could, because I know that she's in so much pain right now and my heart just goes out to her, and the things I want to say about Tommy right now that I will not. Thank you so much for watching this video. Leave me a comment, let me know if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Also, if you would like to join my Patreon, it will be linked down below. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it with that. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.